Hi everybody, and welcome back to Nellie and Ruth Designs. It's Barbie here, and today I want to go over with you different journal styles that you can create, different types of books, different bindings, different items you can use. This, I think, is a great video for someone that has never created a journal before. They've never purchased a journal before. They're new to journaling, whether it be a junk journal, a scrapbook style journal, or just any type of journal. And the one thing that I emphasize is a journal is for your use. It's for your personal use. It's for you to write your personal thoughts in. You can use it as a diary. You could use it as a gratitude journal. You could write something in there. You could use it as a prayer book. You could use it as a household, keeping receipts. If you are, a gardener, you could have a gardening journal, and each season, write in there if you want to keep a schedule of when you mow the lawn, when you redo a flower bed, different flowers that you purchase, when you purchase them, how they thrived, if they thrived in the place that you put them, if you had to move them. There's so many ways you can use a journal. And I know a lot of people get hung up on they don't want to write in their journal. They don't want to mess up the pages. I can't emphasize enough not to worry about that. There's some different journals here that if you do mess up, you can just take the page out. You could put another page in and you could do it yourself. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 styles, 5 styles. I have 5 different styles of journals, and I'm just going to go over them with you, and I'm going to tell you what I like about them. I don't think there's anything I don't like about the journals. There might be 1 or 2 things. But I want to get started. And if you like this video, I'd love to have you give me a thumbs up. I'd love to have you leave me a comment. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If this is the first video that you're seeing, I have so many other videos that may interest you. I'd love to have you subscribe and go back and just take your time, go through my videos. I'm sure there's something there that, may interest you. And if you're a returning subscriber, I want to thank you for your continued support because I really like doing this and I like sharing. So the first 2 journals, I'm going to sit down now. The first 2 journals I'm going to show you are ring-bound journals. And I like these a lot. At first, I wasn't quite sure if I would like them. Sometimes this journal I purchased, I may end up putting smaller rings on this. I think these rings here, let's see. I'm going to measure them so so you get an idea. These rings here, oh golly gosh, come on Barbie. All right, these are 1.75 inches. I'd say 1.5 inches because I'm measuring from the inside, and I think that's how you do it. So these are 1.5 inch rings. If you measure from end to end, it's 1.75 inches. So this one here, yeah, this is 1.5 inches. Maybe I'm going to measure from the outside. So again, this is about 1.5 inches. I'll say 1.5 inches, 1.75 inches. Okay. A lot of gals, they don't really like this style because you have a space there. I don't mind this style at all because a lot of times when you look at a journal, a lot of people hold it in one hand and they flip it like this. They don't really leave it flat. And you can kind of cradle it and the pages turn quite lovely. So these are very, very easy to make. As you can see, this is a vintage Rand McNally famous book elf book series. And all this gal did was she cut the small binding off. She used the pages inside, and she used, obviously, the book cover as her cover. Now, this is one thing that I'm not real keen on, is having these ribbons, and I'll change these out once I start. I don't mind having all your ribbons on top, but I think they just get in the way if they're on all three rings. I mean, you can see this when you turn the pages and you open it up and you actually go to view it. The other thing I really like about these books is I'm not really good at working in a journal if I want to do more mixed media style pages, or I want to write, say like this, say if this graph paper was turned the other way, I flipped it and the graph, I wouldn't be able to write real well on this side. So the one advantage that these type of ring binding books have, you can open these and you can actually you can take out your page, you can do whatever you want to it, and you can plop it back in. If you don't like this in this section and you wanted to do something and you wanted to put more towards the back of the book, you can take it out and you can move it to the back. That is a big advantage of these style journals. When you create a journal, now this one is I call this a vintage junk journal. It is combined with old and new, but I call it a vintage style journal because of the book that the gal used. And she took the pages from inside the book. You can see she rounded the corners, and they are placed in the book. There's graph paper in here. There's vintage style magazine articles in here. There's old sheet music. Looks like music, piano or like clarinet or whatever. I've seen these bags a lot. You can get these at like the Cracker Barrel if you go there and you eat. So this to me is a vintage style. There's a time card in here that's definitely vintage style. More of the book pages, which are so sweet. Here are some new items that she has put in here. These are from, you can tell it's scrapbook paper with the See America. This is scrapbook paper here, so that's newer. Again, this here is all scrapbook style, which is just lovely. But because there are so many vintage style items and images, pages, I consider this a vintage style junk journal because there's all kinds of little pieces of vintage ephemera in here. This is fun. Here's a Yahtzee scorecard page. So if you have items such as this, you know, you can mix and match old and new and put them in your journal. So that is this style here. There's no fancy ties on it or anything like that. I don't think there needs to be. What does she have in the, oh, here's another very vintage style. Here's Savannah, Georgia. I believe postcards used to come in something like this, and she put that in there as a little journaling spot. So that's cute. So this has 3 rings on it. I have another ring-bound journal. This one I purchased from another gal on Instagram. And the reason I purchased this journal is she had an awful lot of items in here, postcards and other items from Italy. I did not like the front cover. It was black, white, and red, and it had a large chess piece on the front. It was very masculine. And on the back, you can see a little bit right here, the green, black, red. I didn't cover that totally. So I redid the back with a floral floral pages out of a Victorian book. Then I added these little pearls here. Just to dress it up, I added the button and the ribbon as a closure. This book, again, I took an awful lot of papers out of here. They were very masculine. I did leave what I left. I went through, I left postcards, obviously. She had taken a book called Strangers in the Forest. I left all of these book pages, these storybook pages. I left the maps. She had in here some graph paper. What else did she have that I left in here? Here's some newer scrapbooking paper. This is okay. I may change this out. I'm not crazy about it. I'm modifying this as I work in it. See, this is the Bridge of Sighs. This is in Venice, Italy. So I left that in there. And she has other, what are some of the other? Here's another. This is still Venice. She had a lot of postcards in here. So I purchased this because of the postcards and the other items that she had. This is Venice at Night. And I just found that the postcards in here were the places that I traveled to when I went to Italy back, I think in 2019, just before we went in the spring, and then COVID hit. I think it was, in the fall there. So how I'm using this, and again, I'm using this from my trip to Italy that I took. I created a double pocket page in the front here so I can put little notes and things. And I just work on this when I can. I'm going to write our memories on the postcards. And when I was over in Italy, I went to a beautiful little stationery shop and I bought a ton of little postcards and other little cards that a woman, she was in her 80s, she makes and sends over to the stationery store. And I just thought they were adorable. So, I make little tiny pockets to hold the cards. And then I just add a few other things here and there. I haven't worked in this a lot. But again, if I work on something, I have the choice to move it. If I don't want it in the front, I want to move it in the back. I can open these rings up and I can move it wherever I want. I can take pages out. I can add pages. So I am a fan and a big proponent of this style journal. And if you're just starting out, this is a really easy way to start where you won't, become deflated if you're trying to sew in a signature and that talent you just don't have. It can be daunting. So I would highly recommend to start out with a journal such as this. All right, the second style journal I want to show you, and again, this is for beginners, or even if you make journals and you just want to take a break from it all. This was a small little recipe holder that I found at my mom's. She had this for many years, and she had recipes all tucked through it and in it. So what I decided to do was, and you can see it's old, it's still coming apart here. I've got to glue and clamp this down because I have a feeling I'm going to lose this. This goes back to the 50s, this little book. But what I'm doing with this is I'm journaling in this, again, when I have time or when the mood strikes me. And this I use to write to my mom in. Either about her, what I remember. Sometimes I might put a poem in there. It's a gratitude and thankful journal. So I will write, why I'm thankful, for the mom that I had. I copy old photos because I don't want to cut the original photos. I'll make a copy and then I cut them out and I put them in here of my mom. And then that way she's with me when I'm journaling. And I try to keep in this journal things that she loved. She loved her birds. She loved gardening. So that's why there's a lot of birds, flowers. She was a big collector of postage stamps. So I try to incorporate things that remind me of her. And again, this is a wonderful way to journal if you want to keep a personal diary. You know, I keep, my mom was a faithful Catholic, so I try to put my Bible journaling items in here. She was a seamstress, so I have these little stickers. You know, I'll put little pattern, I'll copy pattern pages and I shrink them down. I put them in here. Then I sit and write. This here was about my neighbor that I grew up with. She passed away. So I did a little memorial page to her. So there's a lot of ways that you can use. And then again, I'll continue to write and journal as I see fit in this. But this is a lovely way to, again, start out journaling. And I find that your journal style is going to change over time. So again, if you're new to journaling, this is a great way to use up scraps, to use your paper punches. If you're not, you want to learn how to fussy cut, it's a great way to start out. It may not be perfect, but your style will change over time, and you will see that. It's always fun to go back to see, you know, what did I do? What didn't I do? What did I like? What didn't I like? I don't want to do that again. So if you're at a library book sale or you're at a garage sale, look for little books like this, and they're just wonderful to have on hand that you can journal in. The third style I want to show you is just, well, let's go back over here to the books. This here, again, if you're not into making covers or you're very nostalgic and you want a vintage style and you want something to remind you of when you were growing up, or if you're your mom or you had a favorite aunt or godmother who was a great cook, this is a wonderful way to have and keep a journal as well. This is, oh, what does it say? I think this has to go back to the 50s. I don't know if there is a date in this. I don't see a date, but I'd have to say the 1950s. And it's the Better Homes and Garden Junior Cookbook. You can find these again at a library sale. You could find them at an estate sale, a garage sale. But again, you don't have to worry about creating a front cover. You don't have to worry about creating an inside cover. You don't have to worry about creating a binding. It's all here for you. And you have your vintage pages as well in it. Now, this gal, in creating this, she used all scrapbooking paper. So if you're a scrapbooker and you want to take a break from family photos, or if you're a card maker and you want to, you know, start in the journal world, this is a perfect way to do it because you can use your scrapbooking paper and so on. You might be able to find some little ephemera pieces. I think this here, this may come from a scrapbook style. There's nothing on the back, but these are very cute embellishments, little pieces of ephemera. This was made from scrapbooking stickers and scrapbooking paper. This looks a little bit newer, this little divider. Here's a cute little pocket made with scrapbooking paper, and this looks like, I think this might have been a little piece of ephemera in a pack that she purchased. This, I know this is all scrapbooking paper. And then this is where she inserted the pages, some of the pages of the recipes from this book. And these are just really cute. And you may say, well, you know, I don't really want these in here, or what can I do with them? Or I don't know how to collage. I'm not familiar with collaging. You could always take a graph piece of paper. You could do your writing on it. You could type out something if you don't like your handwriting, or your children can't read your handwriting, like I've been told recently. I don't know why. You can, you know, type out what you want to say, and you can just use this as a frame, and you could just put your, say this is your paper. You could just put that in there like that. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Again, this is your personal journal, and you're going to have your own style. You're going to have your likes and your dislikes, and you'll figure it out. But once you figure it out, you're going to really get hooked, and then you're going to want to be daring, try a little something extra. There's so many areas that I'm not familiar with. I really don't do mixed media. I see gals using a lot of pastes and stencils, sprays and spritz. I haven't gotten there yet. It's just a whole other world that I really like it, but I don't know if I want to get into it. It's just, I need to use up what I have. I just really don't. I'm trying not to buy anything more, because what I have I will never use in my lifetime. And it can get kind of out of hand. So I also encourage you to use what you have in your home. Magazines, old books, dictionaries. If you have graph paper or old typewriter paper, you have old calendars, that's good enough. You don't have to copy and do what everybody else is doing. It can be overwhelming. It can be mind-boggling. It can be discouraging. And what none of us want anybody to do is say, you know, my work isn't good enough. I don't have a sewing machine, so I can't make that. I'm not even going to try. I'm not going to do it, because I know with all the media out there, I know us crafters, we want to keep a good spin on everything. Even if we make a mistake, there's always something positive that comes out of it. And we just want anybody that tries anything just to stay positive and just have fun with it. So this is a lovely little journal. Here she even incorporated a cover of this little, you can see where she took out some of the pages in here of a little home baking made easy for beginners and experts. I'm sure there was recipes in there, but that's a cute little journaling space. And again, I haven't even started using this one. I think this might be my next journal that I use after I fill my others. And again, it's nice. I won't have to make any covers or do anything like that. I can just flip a page and I can write in it. I can add to it. So that is that style. And I want to show you a couple other books that you can use to create a journal like this. So we're going to set that there. Now, I have two others, and these I bought at vintage bookstores. This I purchased for $5. And it's, again, very similar. See, it has the binding here, the metal binding, with all of these wonderful tabs and pages in here on sewing. I actually have two of these. One I'm actually keeping to... I don't want to destroy it because you just don't find books like this anymore. And then this book here, I will be making into a journal, because there's so many cute images in here, and this will be a lot of fun to do. I probably will take some of these papers out because once I start adding pockets and papers and photos, because I do like to add photos in my journals, I kind of make them scrapbook / journal books. It's going to get really thick. And some of these pages I could take out and use in other journals that I make. But I would definitely keep these in here because the images, the graphic images are just adorable. So that's another style. I see these out and about quite often, these sewing books. So that's a good idea to use. And then the other one is, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with, is the Better Homes and Gardens garden book. I have two of these. One is my mom's that she had, and I grew up with it. That is on my shelf to stay. And then I purchased another one to play with. And again, you can see this has the metal binding here and with all the rings. And once again, there'll be a lot of papers taken out of this, that, you know, some of these black and white, and then I will fill with my own scrapbook paper and other papers. So make sure you take a look at these. I think this one I bought for maybe $7.95, right around there. So those are two books that you could use as journals. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3. This is number 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 4th style journal is a single signature journal. And this is made all of scrapbooking paper. I purchased this from Tanya over at Tatty Treasures. And Tanya's in the UK, and she's got a wonderful YouTube channel. And she uses a lot of Edith Holden pages in her journals. And this one just really spoke to me. I usually don't buy overseas because the shipping is just crazy. But this, I wanted a nature journal, but I didn't want to make one. I was being lazy, and I said, well, I'll help out a fellow crafter. And after she did her flip through, she posted this on her Etsy shop, and I grabbed it right away. And I really like it. To me, it's simple, it's fun, it's pretty, it's easy to use, and it's functional. And I guess that's the other thing that if you purchase a journal, some of them are absolutely beautiful journals, but you just have to ask yourself, is it functional for me? Am I going to have buyer's remorse? Do I have enough, to put in here? Sometimes you'll get an idea and you'll say, oh, I could do this with it, or I could do that. And then you get it and it's like, I really don't have enough items to put in there. And I'll tell you, if you don't have enough items, then use it as a photo journal. Put family photos in here of events or a trip that you took. Or if you have children that you go apple picking, you go to hot air balloon festivals, you have Halloween coming up, you have, school events, make it for your child. You don't always have to make it for yourself and put your personal things in. Put your children's photos in here. Use one for their school photos as they go through the year. Every year a child gets their school photo taken in the fall. That is just a given. If, you could use that all through their 12, 13 years of school. You could start in pre-K and you can end up with their senior photo. You could put memories of their school, school trips or whatever. Make it for them. So, you don't ever think, well, how am I going to use that now? Or, oh gosh, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have bought that. I really, there's so many ways that you can use a journal that people don't think about. And then in here, she put in some simple tea-dyed pages. And then this is where it looks like she stenciled on them. And again, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. These are beautiful pages. You could have a whole journal with just pages like this if you don't have scrapbooking paper or ephemera. Again, it's a journal. This here, these cute little, these are die cuts, leaf die cuts. I think these might be Tim Holtz. I have these. These pages here I recognize. These are from Your Creative Studio. She received these in her box, and these are great little papers to write on. Some ribbon. This is a cute idea for a pocket. Instead of having it come straight across or at an angle, Tanya cut around the ferns to give it a little jagged edge. Here's just a little envelope with, looks like here she made, these look handmade. They are, because you can tell by the way she cut them out. Just little, like Rolodex style papers. So that's a cute idea. It's another thing you can look for at a garage sale is an old Rolodex, and you can use the little cards in the Rolodex. This is a nice idea, very simple. Just adding. You don't have to be fancy, and I think that's where a lot of people get caught up. They think they have to have every page fancy and something extraordinary on there. You don't need to do that. You could use greeting cards. I've used greeting cards before. I've got two of my journals here. I'm going to flip through and show you because it's a different binding and there's more signatures. You have stickers. So this is a single single signature journal. And it's lovely. It's not bulky. It's not heavy. You can put as many as 5 papers in that will give you 10, up to 20 papers, which will give you 40. And it's just one signature. It's easy sew in, sew out. And Tanya did sew through, right through the cover. And then all she did was she put a piece of lace over the end here to hide the whatever type of fiber she used to stitch this. So this is a single journal, signature journal, where she stitched through. And you can have that show. And then the last type of journal I'm going to show you is, these two are mine that I made. It's a big, fat, chunky monkey. This is my gardening journal. I've showed you this before. And this has 6 signatures in it. And this was one of the first journals that I made. I had never sewn a signature in before. So it's like, why start with a single signature when you can have 6 signatures? I like to challenge myself. I like to, just make sure that I know what I want, and I will work at it and work at it. This binding here, you can see everything is on the outside. When I originally did this, I do have a video on this where I changed this over. I had buttons on here and I had beads and they were hanging, and oh, I thought it was just the cat's meow. I didn't like it because every time I put it down, the beads, it would roll around. It wasn't sturdy. So I said, this has to go. So I tore that all apart, and I did have to rethread a couple signatures, and I already had the woven part here on top and bottom, so that was kind of a challenge. Then I took some sari silk and I just wove it through just to give it a little different look, and I really like it. I like it so much better. So this is where I sewed the signatures in, and you can see the fibers, all the fibers on the outside. And again, like I said, this has six signatures. And each signature I made with a Simplicity sewing pattern jacket, because I just love these. I love all of the images of women, the vintage style women. I really like these. It just brings back a lot of memories for me growing up. And I try to use these in my personal journals whenever I can. This is not hard to do. I do have a video, I believe, of where I made this journal. I will go back and find it. This is an old one, and I will link it. I use scrapbooking paper on the inside. Again, this is when I was first learning how to make a cloth-covered journal. And I've come a long way since then. But again, I will link this just as a reference. I do make them a little bit different now. So this, like I said, is my gardening journal. There are places where I do write inside. There's places where I type everything out. I keep photos in here of the projects that I've completed. I've always done that since we've built our home, and they're everywhere. And I decided that when I do a big project, and this was a very large project, I'm now going to keep the photos, who did the construction, and the dates of construction, and what was done on those dates, how many weeks it took. I'm now keeping them in this gardening journal. And same here, when I have a project, a redo, I'm putting in the before and after photos. And I'm typing up. I'm typing up because I want my boys to be able to read this when I'm dead and gone, and they'll know what was done when, blah, 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 blah. I keep receipts in here of the, what I paid for everything. So you can make your journals your own. I have a mixture of scrapbooking paper in here, as you can see, with vintage paper, with tea-dyed paper, old doilies. Here's some vintage seed packs, and I just make some tags to go in there. This is a little pocket that I made. I have a video on this. These are the Starbucks coffee cup holders. I also have floral pictures in here, some vellum. So again, I try to mix new and old because I have so much, and I just would really like to try and use up what I have. So this is a book that, this is my little gardening. I just did a video on this, but this is my cute little, my little story here of my little Frenchman. And I wanted to put that in my gardening. They're speaking to, he's saying hello, and he's saying, how are you? And then I have a cute little tag in here of two Frenchies sitting in a garden scene, having a picnic on the hill, and they only bathe in the spring. I had to put that in there. So, you can make it an art journal. You can do whatever you want because it's your personal property, and it is yours to keep and enjoy and to work in. And the reason why these are a little long here, I use these as bookmarks. So if I want to work in a page, or I've just worked in a page, I use these and I tuck them right in here like that. And then I can just flip open where I was working last, and I don't have to thumb through the entire book. So this is a junk journal with the spine where you see the signatures shown in. And then the last one this is my other personal journal. You can see it's my vintage women again. Everything is hidden. This just looks like a normal book where the spine is not showing through. And this is another, again, another big chunky monkey of mine. And again, I work in this when I have time. Oh, this here was from a trip when we went to Florida. I just tucked that in there. But again, I incorporate, and if you're new to journal making, if you have fabric at home, this here I made with fabric, and I did a little bit of top stitching on top here. These here are some wonderful fabrics that I buy from a gal on Instagram. This gal here, send more snail mail. This is Ilya and Alice. She makes wonderful postcards, and she put together some vintage retro women, and I have that tucked in there. I bought a series of postcards from her just for my book here. These are all pockets here. And then if you do embroidery or whatever, again, you don't have to write on every page. You can accent it with your embroidery. This here is from a lovely woman. Unfortunately, Linda passed away. We used to exchange mail, and she would send me all kinds of wonderful little items. And she made this tag for me for my book, and she's missed terribly. She was one of my biggest supporters on my YouTube, and I hadn't heard from her in months, and I was getting nervous. And I received a note from her sister through my Etsy shop that Linda had passed away, and it just broke my heart. It literally broke my heart. And then I got a wonderful letter from her husband that I have in here, and I just cherished our friendship during the months that she followed me. So you can tell I'm still quite upset over it. But I put in here, you know, photos of, this was when my son and his wife went to Romania this summer for 2 months, so I wanted to document that. I have in here old greeting cards. These are wonderful images that it's a digital download from an Etsy shop. Here's some more of the embroidery that I do, making a pocket with a tag. I tried some different items here. This is an envelope. So, you know, I do try different things, and I stick them in my personal journals. So there's really no wrong way to use a journal. It's just, here's a little pocket. I did some embroidery. It's a special time for you to sit down and create. You don't have to think about anything else. Here's a little journaling spot here, a tag. I love taking images out of old women's journals or family circles and creating some fun little collage work. But it's a time that you can spend by yourself. You can reflect. You can think about, you know, what's going on in your head. You can write about it. Keep it, like I said, as a personal journal, however you want. And again, it's good therapy. It's really good therapy to play, have some fun, try some new techniques. This was something new. I wanted to make it look like a little house here, a little storefront with, these are the eaves and the awnings. And so it's just fun. It's just a good way to let your creative juices flow, try new things, and go from there. So this is the tassel tag that I created. nice little journaling space on the back side. So when I create a lot of things on YouTube, they do get placed in my journals. And as you can see, I haven't really written a lot in this journal. I'm trying to fill my other journals first and go by years, and I'm still adding to this. So that really concludes the video today of the different journals that you can make, that you can buy, that you can create, that you can look for when you go to garage sales or estate sales, book sales. I get a lot of books also from, we have a local senior center, and they sell books for $1, hardcover books, cookbooks. So there's a lot ways that you can get some of these books out there without having to spend a lot of money. So I really wanted to share these different style journals with you today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear what type of journals you like to use in. And if there's anything else you would like to see me do through a video or a little commentary or whatever, let me know in the comments, and I will do my best to take care of your needs. All right, everybody, have a great day, and I'll see you down the road. Bye-bye.